Welcome, Fuse supporters, to our 4th Teen Poetry Contest Awards. I'm Karetta Hubbard, along with Molly Bess Tinsley, co-founders of Fuse Publishing, launched in 2011. We celebrate poetry and poets and books about poets because we believe in encouraging people of all ages to access their creativity through writing and reading poetry. This year again, we had submissions from all across the country, from almost every single state, and again, the submissions were excellent. We also relied on our teen judges to help us decide on the best top choices of the many submissions that we received. Our judges were Campbell Gooden, a rising sophomore at the University of Virginia, Katarina Salianga, a rising senior at Deering High School in Portland, Maine, and Kate Stein, a rising senior at Masters High School in New York State. For the 4th year in a row, Meghan Sterling returned to help judge our teen poems. And Meghan is a nationally recognized poet. She lives in Portland, Maine. She guided the teen judges with their selections and then chose the top 4 among their choices. Meghan Sterling is a poet, a judge, and lives and breathes poetry. She lives in Portland, Maine, and she teaches poetry workshops. Her work has been published in many presses, and she is the associate poetry editor of the Maine Review. Her collection, These Few Seeds, is now out in print by Terrapin Books. I present to you Meghan Sterling.
Thank you so much, Karetta. First of all, why is poetry important? It's such a big question with so many answers. I like to quote W.H. Auden, who said that poetry might be defined as the clear expression of mixed feelings. Poetry is all of our language at its sharpest, its clearest, its most distilled. It's the elevation of experience and the search for beauty. It helps us make sense of nonsensical things: death, birth, grief, loss, war, love, life itself. Encouraging teenagers to write poetry gives them a place to work out complicated emotions, a safe creative space to test boundaries and to grow. It can also help them develop clear thinking and speaking. After all, understanding ourselves better makes us better communicators, and we all want that. So this is my 4th year as the Teen Poetry Contest judge, and I so enjoyed working with our incredible teen judges. I gave them some parameters to look for as they read the entries. I wanted them to first look for strong imagery. 2, I wanted them to be looking for voice. And 3, I really wanted them to be paying attention to story. So we had so many incredible poems submitted to us this year, and the decisions were tough, but we chose the top 3 and an honorable mention that you will be hearing today. I'm going to share one of my poems from my as yet unreleased collection that I've been working on assiduously all year. This is a poem that I feel exemplifies the different things that we're looking for in poetry: imagery, voice, and story. So I'm going to read that for you today. This poem is called Stone Fields with First Snow. Out of my past flew a crow, its wing broken, its wing blue-black as ink that wrote the dreams it wove from stones and rolled their code in the mud. When the crow slept on the ground, it came to love the rock that was its bed, the stone that was its head. The sky hung upside down over the field and the rivers that bent their way toward a hollow moon. I first saw the fields in a dun brown cloud. The early winter like a sleep that had come over me, my eyes certain that all was ocean roughed by storm. But later I saw the stones had heaped themselves like gods across the land. A crow with a broken wing standing at the road, watching us as we walked the fields, as we poked the frost with our boots. We could live here, I thought. This broken earth, this land of hard, hard rock. We could plant and make things soft or come to ruin right here. The crow hopped on its singular path down the road past the barrens. Where the back is broken, love can grow. Where the land is broken, the cold comes and makes of it a coat. So that poem had a lot of elements that I really wanted the teen judges to look for, and they did. They did an incredible job. The first judge that I'd like to introduce is the lovely Katarina. She's a high school student in Portland, Maine. She selected the first place winner, Driving While Black, which is a masterful poem using powerful imagery, rhyming, and rhythm. Here's Katarina.
Hello everyone, my name is Katarina Salianga. I'm a student at Daring High School, a senior this year, class of 2022. I immigrated to the States when I was only 7 years old. I'm from Angola and I've been here for 9.5 years. When I started middle school, I was introduced to a teacher named Miss McWilliams. She ended up being my favorite teacher. She was my writing teacher and she really helped me, write. Like, I started loving to write because of her. I grew a passion for writing, and one of those type of writings were like small stories. Like, she would help me make my own small stories, and also poetry. Like, in class we would have some times where we would have to write our own poems, and I also took a creative writing class at Deering that we had to do the same stuff. And I just feel a connection to poetry because I love rap music, and rap music uses a lot of rhymes, metaphors, similes, basically another version of poems. Although the situation of blacks and cops in this country is beyond traumatic, I don't know how to put it into words. It's really disturbing how the black community is treated in the hands of cops. Tori Beverly, she did a really great job in putting it into words, and perfecting her craft. I just wanted to say once more thank you to those who submitted the poems, and everybody did a good job. I liked all the poems. Congrats to the winners. Congrats to Tori. You're a really talented young lady. Keep going. Girl, you got a bright future ahead of you if you keep this up. And thank you.
Hi, my name is Tori Beverly, and the poem I'll be reciting is titled The Crime of Driving While Black. Bodies. Black bodies. Beautiful black bodies. Falling. Dying. Suffocating. By the hand of a cop. Even while recorded, they don't stop. Their only objective, one less black male. Maybe they'll go free or maybe they'll go to jail. It's not easy living in a world where justice just doesn't prevail. Like the color of our skin is a guarantee we are criminal. Making sure to contain my melanin like it's contagious is critical. You see flashing red and blue lights from the corner of your eye, and you pray to God that this won't be the day that you die. They ask you for your license, and you willingly comply. But you can tell by the look in their eyes that these men are not your allies. Using force and aggression, they get you out the car instead, and you can tell but in their eyes that you're already dead. Hoping these cops gain a sliver of compassion, you do everything they ask in a calm and orderly fashion. But for no reason at all, they pull out their weapon and point it straight to your head as if teaching you a lesson. Oh Lord, please, this can't be my end. I can be a better person. I can be a better friend. Yet the cop just looks at you with no remorse whatsoever. But you don't give up trying to escape your oppressor. You're trying to break free, and just like that, it's done. Another life taken by pulling the trigger of a gun. This I know for certain, our war is not won. Let's continue to push for change. Our fight has just begun. Thank you.
Thank you. The second place winner is a poem by a poet whose name is withheld, and this poem is called Mirrored Universes. This poem was chosen because it has striking imagery. It weaves a tight thread of images and motifs that create a cohesive container for a poem that deals with the often fraught relationship with the self. Here is Mirrored Universes. Reflections are more than a face looking back. Peer closely at the surface of a rain puddle, the light in the mirror, the shine on the spoon. Opposites exist on the other side of our reality, only a mere touch away from dimensional ruin. I raise my right hand, you your left. We contradict the ideas of self, consciousness bearing no effect on how far you can become me or not. In your world, the crows sing to bless the dead. I'm already a still body 6 feet under, while you roam the earth. The light lands on your head and you burn. There are no stars in your universe, just lingering ashes. I press my face to the glass. There are imperfections marring clarity, though you still see me better than I can. My skin cracks under stress, and you smile with pity. I back away, heartbeat breaking the barrier between us. I understand suddenly too well what versions of life can exist. Choice A versus choice B, turn left or right, up or down. Carefully regard yourself, for you can't be trusted alone to not be. I blink and you stare. There is no relationship between us, as our paths were never meant to cross over in the timeline of truth. What can you imagine if you let your mind go freely? Mirrors chained to the wall, water evaporating into air. The only universe exists inside you, awake or not. Smash the glass, step in the puddle, wash the spoon. The next day, I only see me in the reflection. Powerful poem. Our third place winner was chosen by our teen judge, Campbell Gooden. He's a student at the University of Virginia. This poem, The Estrangement of First Generation Americans, tells a very important story. Here's Campbell.
Hello, everybody. My name is Campbell Gooden. I'm a Fuse Teen Poetry Contest judge. I attend the University of Virginia, and one of the reasons that I really like poetry is because of the way it allows poets to uniquely and creatively express really deep meaning in such a compact amount of words. I think that's really special. The poem that I thought was really fantastic was The Estrangement of First Generation Americans. I really thought what stood out was its unique voice. I thought that was a really unique and powerful perspective, and it wasn't a very passive voice, it was very hands-on and present. Additionally, I really appreciated the anaphora throughout the entire poem, but specifically in the last stanza, I thought it was particularly powerful. And really the last line was really, really powerful to me, the rhetorical question. The two worlds, yet where do I belong? You know, it's not only a call of action for the author herself, but also a call to action for the reader. You know, how are you going to make this a more inclusive America and help people belong? So I thought that was really powerful. And as for the author, she's from St. Louis, Missouri. She's a rising junior, and her name is Lauren McLeod. Lauren, huge congratulations on the poem. It was a great poem.
Hello, my name is Lauren McLeod, and today I'm here to talk about the thought process behind my poem and what I want readers or listeners to get from my poem. Okay, to begin, my poem is titled The Estrangement of First Generation Americans. It talks about the pull between two worlds, the pull between two worlds being me as a first generation American to Caribbean parents, talking about how it was hard to assimilate into American culture coming from a Caribbean family. The thought process behind my poem was really just to get my feelings out on a piece of paper, to talk about how hard it is to assimilate into a foreign culture that I don't really know as well as my parents don't really know. So it's a very interesting transition into Western society. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that. And I know that a lot of first generation Americans can relate, whether or not they're from the Caribbean or where their parents are from all around the world. I know it is very hard to not feel stuck between the two or not feel like you don't belong in either. But I think that it is a very good learning process. It is a good process to learn from the two cultures and just try your best to get the good things from both. Get the good things from your mother culture and from the culture that you are living in and that culture that you're also having to learn from. So my thought process was basically just to get my feelings out on a piece of paper and write something that was meaningful to me. And I think the biggest takeaway I want my readers or listeners to get from my poem is that being a first generation American is hard, but at the end we get the best of both worlds. So it's important to take the good things from both and learn from them and help use them to shape our identities. And I just want people to know that they're not alone and that many first generation Americans feel this way. And at the end of the day, you just have to try your best. So yeah, thank you for listening or reading my poem. I come from warm smiles and the aroma of spices. I find comfort in loud voices and the warmth of the sun. I see a home in a place where I've never lived, a place out of reach. The constant comfort of foods and drinks wrapping me in warm embraces. The pull between two worlds. The one I find comfort in, yet do not know. And the one I know, yet do not find comfort. The sense of not belonging because I was not wholly immersed in both. The pull between two worlds. The shock of the two, constantly contradicting one another. The pride and the shame I feel of not fully belonging in one or the other. I come from warm smiles and the aroma of spices. I come from Christmases spent on the beach, listening to the roar of the ocean. I come from climbing trees to catch jackfruit. I come from bathing with a pail of water in the blazing sun. However, I am living in a place where the color of my skin is something frowned upon, where the aroma of spices is a scent that needs to be covered and ashamed of. I'm in a place where a smile is suppressed and not an ordinary act of kindness. I'm in a place where I'm constantly told I do not belong. The two worlds, so different, yet so similar. The two worlds that have helped shape my identity. The two worlds that I learned from and used to become a better version of myself. The two worlds where I long for acceptance. The two worlds, yet where do I belong? Thank you.
Our honorable mention was chosen by Kate Stein, a rising senior in high school living in New York City. Welcome, Kate.
Hi, my name is Kate and I'm going into my senior year of high school, and I'm here to talk about the poem The Neighborhood. I really like this poem because it was a really interesting concept about the nostalgia of being a kid, and it was super relatable and reminded me of my own childhood. There were also beautifully described memories in this poem that reminded me of a fairy tale, especially when they referred to the forbidden forest in their backyard. And the author used really great imagery and super concrete visuals, like the description of tight-roped Niagara Falls, and the repetition was amazing. Like every stanza started with "Oh, to be a kid again," which was very powerful and really conveyed a reminiscence of childhood. And this poem just really, really moved me. And the winner was Nikita Baskar, and she is 16 years old and from St. Louis. So congratulations, Nikita.
Hi, I'm Nikita, and I'm an upcoming junior in Baldwin, Missouri. So my poem is called The Neighborhood, and basically I wrote it about kind of being envious of when I was younger and the kids who are younger, just not having a care in the world. So I'll read you guys my poem. Okay. The Neighborhood. Oh, to be a kid again, to be afraid of nothing, seeing the neighborhood as our universe and us the heroines. Oh, to be a kid again, to wait eagerly at each other's doors to play, ready to select today's adventure. To steal jars from the pantry, catching magical fireflies in our little hands. Oh, to be a kid again, to sneak away to the bridge of rocks at the construction site, closing our eyes as we tight-roped over Niagara Falls. To explore the forbidden forest in our backyard, running back out when we heard the footsteps of a monster. Oh, to be a kid again, to ride our bikes lap after lap, thinking we were the fastest racers in the world. To fight against the St. Louis sunset, fearing nothing but Mom saying, "Time to go home." Oh, to be a kid again, because now when I drive by the neighborhood, not in a bike or a scooter, but in my own car, I see a new generation of kids, riding their bicycles into the wind. Oh, to be a kid again.
Thank you so much, teen judges, teen poets, and Karetta. I'll be teaching a class this autumn that is both generative and craft focused. It's called Make, Mend, and Manifest. Each week we'll be writing poems, reading poems, and focusing on a different topic. Creating fresh imagery, anaphora, line breaks, titling the poem, syntax, and revision. I have a full-length collection of poetry that I've just finished and will be sending to publishers this fall. It's called Notes from a Borrowed Field. It's about the search for home. Wish me luck as I place it. I also have a chapbook that I'll be sending to contests throughout the year. So I have a few different things going on. Submitting is a topic that I teach about. If you're interested in learning about it, contact me through my email, megansterling36@gmail.com. I work with individuals one-on-one to help them with their poetry craft, submissions, and every other poetry question that anyone might have. Thank you all so much for supporting poetry and teen poetry. Take care.
Wow, wasn't that a bundle of talent? Those teens all have incredibly bright futures. I want to thank all of the students who submitted poems and took the time to send them to Fuse for the poetry contest. We gave them all blue ribbons because they were all winners, and we will send them all Fuse ebooks in the hopes that they will continue to read and write poetry. To our winners, teen judges, and Meghan Sterling, we applaud your commitment to poetry and to the arts. We will see you again in September for 2 new Fuse events, a cabaret of songs by Lynn Revo-Cohen from New Point Strategies, and our next book launch in mid-October by Ann Kimmage, Split in Two, The Healing Power of Yoga. Thank you all very much. We appreciate the fact that you joined us for our 4th annual Teen Poetry Contest. Goodbye.